All right, guys. So my voice a little hoarse, but I should be okay. I'm going to continue on with the Passion according to GH, just to get my voice warmed up. There's short chapters, so by Clarice Lispector. This book is very abstract, very abstract. A little bit hard to understand. Ambiguous, possibly, open to interpretation, more than one. So let's, again, I enjoy reading out loud. I enjoy knowing that I'm making progress, and I love stories. So I know my voice is hoarse. I apologize. So, hell is my maxim. I was fully in the heart of an indifference that is still an alert. And in the heart of an indifferent love, of an indifferent waking sleep, of an indifferent pain. Of a God who, if I loved him, I didn't understand what he wanted from me. I know he wanted me to be his equal, and for me to equal him through a love of which I was incapable. Through a love so great that it would be of such an indifferent personal as if I were not a person. He wanted for me to be the world with him. He wanted my human divinity, and that had to start with an initial stripping down of the constructed human. And I had taken the first step since at least I already knew that being a human is a sensitization, an orgasm of nature. So being human is having senses, an orgasm of nature. And that only through an anomaly of nature, instead of being the God as other beings are he, instead of being he, we wanted to see him. It would not hurt to see him if we were as great as he. A roach is greater than I because its life is so given over to him that it comes from the infinite and goes toward the infinite without noticing. It doesn't miss a beat. I had taken the first great step, but what had happened to me? I had fallen into the temptation of seeing, the temptation of knowing and feeling. My grandeur, searching for the grandeur of the God, had taken me to the grandeur of hell. I had not been able to understand his organization except through the spasm of a demonic exaltation. Curiosity had expelled me from the shelter, and I was finding the indifferent God who was all good because he is neither bad nor good. I was in the heart of matter that is the indifferent explosion of itself. Life was having the strength of a titanic indifference that wanted to advance, and I, who wanted to advance with it, had been hooked on the pleasure that was making me merely hellish. The temptation of pleasure. The temptation is to eat directly from the source. The temptation is to eat directly from the law. And the punishment is no longer wanting to stop eating and eating oneself who am equally edible matter. And I was seeking damnation like a happiness. I was seeking the most orgiastic in myself. I would never rest again. I had stolen the hunting horse of a king of joy. I was now worse than myself. I shall never rest again. I stole the hunting horse from the Sabbath king. If I fall asleep for an instant, the echo of a whiny wakes me. A whinny, like whatever the horse makes, a whinny. And it is useless not to go. In the dark of night, the panting gives me goosebumps. I pretend to sleep, but in the silence the steed breathes. It says nothing, but it breathes, waits and breathes. Every day it will be the same thing, right? At the dusk, I start to get melancholy and thoughtful. I know that the first drum on the mountain will make the night. I know that the third will already wrap me in its thunder. And by the fifth drum, I shall already be unconscious inside my greed. Until at dawn, by the last lightest drums, I shall end up, without knowing how, beside a creek. Without ever knowing what I did beside the enormous and tired head of the horse. Tired from what? What do? We who trot in the hell of joy? I have not gone for 2 centuries. The last time I got down from the adorned saddle, my human sadness was so great that I swore never again. Yet the trotting carries on inside me. I chat, tidy the house, smile, but I know that the trot is inside me. I miss it like one who dies. I can no longer not go. And I know at night when it calls me, I shall go. I want just one more time for the horse to lead my thought. That was who I learned with. If you can call it thought, the hour between barks, the dogs bark. I start to get sad because I know with my eye already shining that I shall go. When at night it calls me to hell, I go. I come down like a cat on the roofs. Nobody knows, nobody sees. I turn up in the dark, mute in a glow. 53 flutes run after us. Ahead of us a clarinet lights us, and nothing more is given to me to know. At dawn I shall see us exhausted beside the creek without knowing what crimes we committed before reaching the dawn. In my mouth and on your hooves the mark of blood. What did we sacrifice? At dawn I shall be standing beside the mute steed with the first bells of a church flowing down the creek, with the remains of the flute still flowing from my hair. The night is my life, darkness falls, the happy night is my sad life. Steal the steed from me, because after stealing so much I have even stolen the dawn, and made a premonition from it. Swiftly steal the steed while there's still time, before darkness falls, if there still is time, because when I stole the deed I had to kill the thing. I had to kill the king. And in murdering him I stole the death of the king, and the joy of the murder consumes me with pleasure. I was eating myself, I who am also living matter of the Sabbath. I who am also living matter of the Sabbath. I don't know, my voice.